What's the most useless thing they teach in school? The tongue, taste map. Not only useless, but incorrect. The entire life of my school founder, the worst of all is that they teach us the same thing all the years. I graduated in 1991 for context and, while living in Phoenix, they taught us square dancing in gym class. I must say though that the most useful skill that I was taught at that school that I use every single day is typing. In order to graduate middle school you were required to complete the Cupid Shuffle, Cotton-Eyed Joe, and Electric Slide in front of your class. I guess this taught us the concept of pure embarrassment. They taught competitive cup stacking in my elementary school. Still have no idea why. Edit. This was in central Canada, but clearly it was widespread across a lot of North America. Please stop asking me if I went to your school. I probably didn't. I was taught that Columbus knew that the world was round, but everyone else thought it was flat. So, yeah. That. Well, I'm old so take my answer in context. How to use an abacus. The way the US public school system teaches it, Spanish. You learn it maybe half a year then forget it over the summer. You'd think with years of education we'd be better Spanish speakers but it's essentially useless the way it's taught. You won't have a calculator in your pocket in the real world. Edit. Yes, I know how to do math. I'm an engineer and I like math theory. I promise I'm not a brain-dead mobile addict. According to my son, apparently everything. Completely opposite. When I was in high school we had driver's ed, gun training, basic car maintenance, home economics. A class when we learned how to do taxes. Edit. Also sex ed. That you have to ignore bullies and or forgive them. In real outside world if you bully someone you will 1. Get slapped across the face 2. Get kicked in your butt 3. Fired from work or 4. Shunned and made fun of. Ps. My friend's nephew got bullied at school. The bully was pocking him with his finger so hard that the next day the nephew had like 20 small bruises all over his back. The teacher just told him to ignore him and made the bully apologize. Now I dare you to go to work tomorrow and start pocking people and I see how far you go. They mostly taught us to ask permission in order to use the bathroom. That hiding under your desk will keep you safe from bombs and tornadoes. Yes, I know what it's actually for, it's just always been a silly visual. I can say with decent confidence that I don't think anything I learned was really useless. There's stuff I haven't used, but I don't regret learning it. I feel like almost everything has some value, but I really wish that they taught high school classes on operating systems, Excel, and an introduction to programming and logic. I learned it all in college, but Excel saved me a ton of time on homework. Programming played a much greater role than I could have imagined, and high school left me unprepared for that. That classical literature is the end-all be-all of reading. I get some books have cultural significance, but that doesn't warrant a 6-week in-depth analysis of a book kids can't relate to, with most being about challenges they will never face, culminating in an essay that's basically, I understood it repeated over and over backed up by quotes. If you want your kids to never touch a book in their lives ever again, that is how you do it. Not useless, just poorly taught, history. It was just a collection of dates, names, and numbers. Memorize this stuff, we'll have a test. The significance of so many historical events was never taught or discussed. WW2 was the only one that was somewhat approached at scale, but even then it boiled down to Germany was pissed off about WW1 and Hitler hated the Jews. This was at a good high school too, the whole class was in advanced classes, app. Sex and drug education. The entire lesson plan is, just don't do it. Fucking bullshit. Cursive. I have never used it outside of signing my name. They don't do it anymore, but back around 2000 in health class we all had to plan a wedding. Like, pair up and budget out a rental space, food, rings, etc. Looking back, what the fuck? My secondary school made us all take religion up to GCSE level. That was so fucking pointless, especially when you had limited choices on what subjects you could take. Square dancing. I have no idea why the hell they thought it was necessary to teach a bunch of middle school kids square dancing, in California, not some backward school, but I have never seen anything related to square dancing since then. And this wasn't even a one-time class or something, the teachers carried on for months teaching it. And then I never heard about it again. Double spacing after punctuation. I can't unlearn the habit. Writing and spelling. High school level sports marketing has got to be the most useless class. Religion. 9 + 1 year of listening to the same old shit. At least in high school, it was little different. I don't think anything is truly useless. Each subject, topic exposes you to a different sphere. You may like some and dislike others, but without being introduced to them you wouldn't even know about its existence. College is the time you can focus on whatever specific sphere you like, want. Muggle studies. Oh sorry, wrong thread. In the US, probably the Pledge of Allegiance. We did that every day from 1st grade through 12th grade. Let's say it took a minute per day. That's 5 minutes a week. Every 12 weeks, that's an hour. You're in school roughly 36 weeks a year, so that's 3 hours a year. Multiplied by 12 years and that's about 36 hours of your youth academic career spent talking to a flag. The universal experience of learning how to play hot cross buns on the recorder. Write a sorry letter for defending yourself, busted a kid's lip for hitting and trying to choke me and got sent straight to the office. Elementary school needs to be renamed to Glue Eating School. The bell doesn't dismiss you. I do. Of course the bell dismisses you. What you're being prepared for, however, is a lifetime of bosses telling you that coming in 15 minutes before your shift, and staying 10 minutes after, doesn't count as overtime and doesn't need to be paid. That it's okay to violate that safety rule on site because OSHA isn't paying you, I am, and the customer is waiting on you. Basically, anytime an authority figure isn't following the rules they themselves set for everyone, you are being trained to accept that behavior in your adult life. I was coming in here ready to defend education and say that even information you don't use in your everyday life has value. Then I read the first comment and realized I had rose-colored glasses on pretty fast. That conduct grades matter. I have a friend whose child got a needs improvement conduct grade. What the fuck is that about? If her 8-year-old is causing problems, address it then. Why wait 9 weeks and slip it onto the report card? My friend is also a teacher and completely agreed with me. I got plenty of unsatisfactory conduct grades in school and yet I still managed to get a college degree and have a career. Screw that nonsense. What to think instead of how to think. Memorizing the specific names for groups of animals, gander of geese, murder of crows, etc. I knew some ESL friends that had to memorize them for English classes. We were living in South Jersey at the time the Eagles went to the Super Bowl in 2004. And my elementary school taught us the Eagles fight song. Had a whole school assembly by grade level to teach us the Philadelphia Eagles fight song and we weren't dismissed till we all knew it. PE was not only completely useless, but a bitch to deal with being disabled. I'm not wheelchair bound but I am physically disabled and was still forced to run the mile, do sports, etc. despite having docs against it. Didn't get anything out of it but pain. On the opposite end, economy was an amazing class one think should be a federal requirement. Too many people have no understand of even the basics. Cursive writing. I could tape a pen to my dick and form a perfectly legal and acceptable signature. My school notoriously controlled kids socializing, expecting us to constantly stay quiet. My social skills are fucking trash now. The amount they teach Shakespeare. Like, sure once is probably good, not every year grade 9 to 12. Monthly foreskin trimmings. I only need to trim maybe once or twice a year at the most, monthly was just excessive. The only thing I learned from that class was a bunch of health procedures for cauterizing wounds safely and how to properly apply a tourniquet to the penis so it stops blood flow but doesn't do nerve damage. How to ruin what might otherwise be a perfectly enjoyable book by poring over it to pick out every last speck of nuance, hidden meaning and/or symbolism from it. Abstinence-only sex ed. Growing up I was told not to use calculators to do math because when I get older and get to the outside world I won't have access to one. Once smartphones became commonplace now I don't know anyone that don't use the calculator app. Free periods. They don't prepare you for real life one bit. Hi. Language teacher in the UK. This is more what they don't teach but. They often teach the rise of the British Empire but seldom about the fall. Which leads students with a very British-centric approach to a lot of their studies. I'm aware of this in languages but I've seen this in history, and even English language. I'm not blaming the teachers or the students, the curriculum is fucked. But as a result from this I hear way too often, learning X language is pointless, everyone speaks English. Golf. They're teaching us golf in gym class. I thought archery was useless but holy shit golf. That's the best they could come up with. That your entire self-worth is based off of a letter and score.